But here we go, we're diving into our second matchup of the night, and here we go, finally, some of these bigger names are facing off against each other. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Goldenora, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Teal Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless. It is LunaSea. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Yellow Terran player. The Yellow Terran, the South Korean Terran living in the land of Japan, representing Team Hyper 1. It is HonMonO. The most honorable of monarchs. Catching up with the chat. They turned into X Alpha X. Oh, Smooch. Not like this. Not like this. Yeah, man, I'm catching up. I see Droptoms in the chat. He's really good with the early game unit harass. He is. Speaking of, LunaSea does dip into the main base of HonMonO. HonMonO going for an economic opener. It is a Rax expand here. Oh, as he pulls the boys. Bit of an overreaction by HonMonO. He does lose a lot of mining time there on that probe. He once again tries to get the kill off on that worker. And the CC is soon to be thrown down. LunaSea trying to lay it, but there it is. The command center is on location. Marine pops out as well. And HonMonO does defend against the early game harass. Reactors on the way behind this should be going for... Oh, actually, curious. I'm curious if we're going to be going for a more greedy build here. I've been seeing a lot of 3cc play. A lot of 3cc between the Koreans and even some of the European Terrans. But CC first, it should be into a factory follow-up. Yeah, there it is. Factory is on the way for HonMonO. Back at home, LunaSea getting into his own gate expand. Or gate cyber expand here. Standard opener as well. Also, fun fact, HonMonO, he was actually messaging me earlier, talking to me about how apparently their match history is even. They have like a 50-50 score. It's 4-4. 4 wins for both players in their history of competing against each other. In their history of play. So that is really cool to hear. Have an even scoreline. Marines, they do stutter step forward, and good catch here from HonMonO. Yeah, with the stutter stepping, we do get eyes, and we do shut down that first adept. Only picking off 1 Marine. A much cleaner defense here. We also have the bunker on the low ground just to be safe, just to be secure against earlier game harass from earlier units. So HonMonO playing very safe, and so far able to get the better of LunaSea. Once again, it's going to be a Twilight Council opener here, getting to blink. 2 gateways for now. Adept going to be threatening a shade. The HonMonO has plenty to defend. Behind this, getting to a safety factory. Safety cyclone, I meant to say. Oh, as we do not get into the main. There it is. Cyclone does pop out. Good stutter stepping. Once again, the Adept goes down. HonMonO catching both Adepts. Moving out across the map with Marines, with Cyclones as well. And LunaSea back at home. What do we have to defend? We have a shield battery on the way. Suddenly, HonMonO, the one with momentum. We have a shield battery in production. Should finish up in time. Sentry as well for force fields. HonMonO will retreat until the Cyclone arrives. Once again, started stepping forward. 2, 3 Marines go down. Cyclone gets a lock on, but the shield battery does finish up in time. And oh god, it was so close. The Stalker lives. And LunaSea defends. Whew. Again, that was a very tense moment, but LunaSea does deflect the army. That was a lot of Marines going down, by the way. That was 7 Marines falling for HonMonO. Ay, ay, ay. And now we can take a third base. At the same time, we're also pushing with our Stalkers. We have the hallucination for high ground vision. If we dive into the main, no, we're just going into scouts. And now we have commenced tank production. HonMonO getting to his tanks, getting to his 3-1-1 setup. As a reminder, this is all before the starport. There is no starport, there is no medevac production. We're just prioritizing Marines and tanks. This looks like the beginning of a 2-base all-in. If you're familiar with HonMonO as, oh, we don't quite get the Cyclone, but if you're familiar with HonMonO, you would be aware that he is known for aggression in this matchup. He does nothing but 1 and 2 base all-ins against Protoss players. He's a very aggressive player. And yes, he has bled out a lot of Marines, but we maintain the tank count, the Cyclone count. Repairs are underway. Bunker is full. LunaSea behind this, getting into his next tech of choice. It's going to be charged, and Colossus production as the follow-up. Now, as a reminder, as opposed to the previous game, this time it's going to be the Bay after the 3rd base. This is a more greedier, more economic build here by LunaSea as opposed to his previous series against Optimus. Once again, the blink is punished. We get one, we get 2 Stalkers. Up. 2 Stalkers go down. We did pick up 3 SCVs though, and another handful of Marines. The army is amassing, and we spoke about the 2 base all-in. The boys are being pulled. Let's go. Again, there's no starport. No starport. There's no sustain to this army. We have +1. We have stim, or soon to be stim. Combat shields is finishing up. And here we go. HonMonO is committed. Now, LunaSea does see this ahead of time. There's a shield battery in position. Sentry is moving out. Immortal has arrived. How good are the force fields? Again, we have to buy time. We have to force field the ramp up. And so far, some okay force fields. We catch a couple of SCVs. The Marines, they do slip past. Tank does siege within range. And the Nexus taking a lot of damage. The second tank does push forward. No more force fields. Shield battery goes down. No overcharge either. LunaSea's in trouble. LunaSea's in trouble. Big tank shots going up on the Stalkers. The base is going to go down. Zelta warped in. We have the Colossus just in time. But is it enough, as it's actually just 1 second too late? The base goes down. And HonMonO snowballing out of control. He shuts down the Immortal. He's going for the Colossus, and he will get it as well. Massive pickoffs. He resets the army. He resets the base, or kills the base. Takes an economic lead, and he's still rallying everything across the map. We pull the boys again. We didn't have enough of them. But more SCVs are being pulled, but we run into... Oh, we do run into these Zealots. Zealots do catch some reinforcements. Good pickoffs. There we go. We have to stand and fight. Another Stalker goes down. LunaSea trying to expand, taking the linear 3rd, or the triangular 3rd. Oh, we get 1 tank. We get the second tank as well, but oh, there's no energy. The Colossus goes down. The shield battery was out of energy. Aye, aye, aye. No overcharge either, and yeah, HonMonO, he's done it. He's broken the natural. Again, those initial force fields on the ramp were not good enough. They were not good enough. The Colossus, again, was too late. As a reminder, LunaSea did go for a greedier build. Remember, I pointed out that he went for a 3rd Nexus before Colossus production, as opposed to what he did against Optimus. So it was greedier overall, and he was punished for that greed. It was such a crisp push there by HonMonO. Boys are being pulled. The base goes down. And massive tank volleys on the Stalkers. And GG gets called. It becomes too much to handle, and HonMonO takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Whew. HonMonO does take a lead in the series. When it comes to LunaSea, again, I'm sure he's fully aware of HonMonO's playstyle. They have played in the past. And can we bounce back in this series? I want to believe we can. I want to believe we can get into an ace match. That's what I want from this, at least. So LunaSea is attempting, or is going to attempt to recover here in game 2. Again, in general, I feel like going for greedy builds against HonMonO is crazy. Again, I mentioned before, he has a reputation. HonMonO has a reputation about being really aggressive, specifically against Protoss players. In TvP, HonMonO and Pulling the Boys. You know, name a better duo, right? Like, they come hand in hand. HonMonO and Pulling the Boys in this matchup specifically. He plays, you know, we see Hon macro against other players, against other races, but against Protoss, it's all about all-ins. And I expect to see something similar here on Site Delta. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Side Delta, we have our South Korean Protoss player, the Teal Protoss, or he's down to the series. He has to fight back here and now to force the ace match. It is LunaSea. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the yellow Terran player representing Hyper One game away from taking this series. It is HonMonO. Catching up. I'm just catching up here. They seem to be evenly matched. HonMonO overextended his capacity to push. That did occur. I remember you're talking about, as it's 2-Rax. 2-Rax Reaper, let's go. But you're referring to the moment when HonMonO moved out after he caught the 2 Adepts. He caught 2 Adepts and he pushed out towards the third base, but he bled out a lot of Marines there. That's when he pushed out with his first Cyclone. And LunaSea didn't lose any Stalkers. Like, it was some really good early game defense out of LunaSea. Like, you know, we have to praise him where we can, right? Like, pay him his dues. As my apologies, I assume this was 2-Rax Reaper. It's 3-Rax Reaper. Oh boy, let's go, Papi. It is going to be 3-Rax Reaper instead. HonMonO, we spoke about him. He has a reputation. He has a certain style in this matchup. 1 base or 2 base all-ins. Aggression is the name of the game for HonMonO against Protoss, and you don't get much more aggressive than this. Probe gets in. No shot. Probe gets in. We get a full scout of the main base. All 3 Raxes have been seen. Again, the probe did back off for a moment, then dipped back in. Now LunaSea can prepare. He can prepare back at home. Stalker's being chronoed out. We need shield batteries. Shield batteries in the main and in the natural are going to be required. Because with Mass Reaper, we can hit both. Or, I mean, technically we can only hit 1. Yeah, here at the natural base. The Reaper cliff is walled off. Bear that in mind. So there's no way into the main base directly. We could go to the main if we head behind the mineral line. So we have to be wary of that. LunaSea with that shield battery. I like that the shield battery is further back as well, closer towards the ramp. And there it is, shield battery in the main as well. Once again, though, it's more of a fallback point. Not really protecting the mineral line. As boys are being pulled. Oh my god, I didn't even realize. It's a 1 base all in. Boys have been pulled off of 1 base. Let's go. The boys have arrived. They get past the army. They go for the surround. They go for the shield battery. Oh my god. Good target firing. 1 Reaper goes down. Big takeoff. Shield battery falls. No overcharge, but thankfully there is a backup shield battery. As we have some worker on worker action. The violence. Oh. SCVs are going down. We have 2 Stalkers left, and it looks like we have held. LunaSea kills 9 SCVs, and there's 2 Reapers left. We're going to be able to kite back. We pick off 1 more probe, but LunaSea has held. LunaSea has held. As HonMonO going for another probe kill, doesn't get it with the completion of the Shade. Oh my god, the Reaper barely escapes. But I spoke too soon, as there we go, finally gets shut down. And back at home, what is our transition? Marauders. Okay, so the way that HonMonO works, if his first all-in fails, he will resaturate his base and pull the boys for a second time for a second all-in. Guarantee that's gonna happen. We're going into detail. I love this. I love this response. Dark Shrine from LunaSea. I mean, again, there's only 1 orbital. There's no scans. There shouldn't be any scans. So going for a Dark Shrine is quite smart in this situation. I mean, in general, against 1 or 2 base all-ins, DTs are really problematic for the all-inning player, just because all-ins are so crisp that you can't really afford, or you're usually like muling as hard as possible to squeeze out as much as you can from your economy. Ooh, Adepts gets into the main. Marauders are revealed. LunaSea, even though he's most likely... never mind, I was going to say most likely going to lose the Adept, and he will lose the Adept. At least he confirms no expansion. No expansion. He confirms the Marauder production, confirms, and as we pull the boys again, confirms the resaturation, and we spoke about it. If the first all-in fails, HonMonO, he resaturates and pulls the boys for a second time, as if on cue, this time with Mass Marauder, this time with Stim. Now it's time for round 2. Now it's time for the second all-in of the game. And this time we barely leave. We leave one SCV at home. One SCV back at home. DT goes in. No, we're going past. Oh, LunaSea, we need it back at home. There we go. We have a DT back at home as well. Good force field. Pylon's going to be focused now. We have the overcharge keeping the pylon alive. And it barely does keep it alive a little bit longer. The Dark Templar going ham. Then we have a scan. One scan goes off. The overcharge about to run out. Boys are being pulled. And HonMonO, he's gaining ground, but the Marauders are falling one after the other. We're down to 4 Marauders. Down to 3. Down to 2. Down to 1. One Marauder left. He gets cleaned up. GG gets called. And LunaSea ties up the series 1-1. Let's go. GG. GG, well played. We are going to the ace match. That was a terrifying second wave, by the way. But what kept LunaSea alive there? The fact that he was so set up at his natural. 2 shield batteries. 2 shield batteries at the natural. We have the overcharge. We have the force field as well. Honestly, the force field plus the overcharge in tandem there was able to buy enough time for the DT to wreak havoc, for some extra warp ins, for that DPS to clean up all those SCVs, and GG. We have the ace match. We have a game 3. Let's go. Let us go. We're getting into game number 3 on Alcyone. It all ends here. It all ends in the ace match. And this is all I wanted. This is all I wanted out of this series. Between LunaSea and HonMonO, I wanted a game 3. Who wins from here? I'm happy. I'm happy with either result. I mean, part of me wants HonMonO to advance on just so we have a little bit more variety in the tournament. What I'm referring to is we have a lot of Protoss. We have how many? 2, 4, 6. We have 6 Protoss players, 1 Zerg, and 1 Terran in the tournament. So I would like to see a little bit more diversity in the semifinals, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see where this does take us. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alcyone, we have our teal Protoss player representing himself, currently teamless, but tying up the series 1-1, defending the 1 base all in. It is LunaSea. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the yellow Terran player, the South Korean Terran living in the land of Japan. He goes by many names. At some points, he's HonMonO, sometimes he's on Macro, sometimes he's on Mech, sometimes he's Hon Waifu. But here he is, HonMonO. Let's go. I'm putting HonMonO on blast. Again, he's a good friend of the channel, does drop by from time to time. If you're curious, if you want to support him, HonMonO, he streams on his own Twitch channel as well. Fun fact, it was a couple of weeks ago, a month ago now, HonMonO did end up buying a maid outfit on stream, and we did have a Hon Waifu stream. That was a thing where HonMonO was laddering in a maid outfit and was using a voice changer to sound like an anime waifu. It's the reality we live in. It's the reality. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, he has a very unique style. He's very stylistic in that sense, where, I mean, HonMonO, he's gonna cheese you. He's gonna cheese any kind of Protoss player out there, and you know it's coming, but it's so difficult to defend. We've seen HonMonO take down Cristiano, we've seen him take down Geralt. I don't think there's a Protoss player in the tournament that hasn't fallen to HonMonO in the past. But we'll see. We'll see if he can even advance onto the semifinals. For now, we're going for a double gas opener. Okay. For the first time, double gas opener here, it's a Rex into factory based build from HonMonO. A little bit more aggressive initially. With this faster factory, we can get into faster Hellions, into a fast Cyclone, Widowmine drop as well. We have options. There's a CC on the low ground. Behind this, Robo opener by LunaSea. I like this. Very defensive build here. Now, when it comes to the tech choices of Protoss, there's a couple of different paths you can take. You can go for a Twilight Council opener into Blink, you can go for a Stargate into Phoenixes or into Oracles, or you can go into a Robo. Now, what the Robo allows you to do is you can get into Fast Colossus production. And Fast Colossus completely shuts down 2 base all-ins. Like, Fast Colossus and Fast Immortals. Like, you get like a solid backbone to your army as quickly as possible, and you can defend against early game aggression quite well. The downside is you can't really be too aggressive or assertive yourself. With Blink Stalkers, you can move out across the map, blink into the main base, you can threaten SCVs, you can micro against the army. With the Stargate opener with Phoenixes, you can likewise harass the mineral line, pick off some units, pick off some high-tech units as well, shut down drop play. LunaSea, to make up for this, is going for a Warp Prism first, so he can be active on the map, but the Warp Prism isn't as maneuverable as Blink, for example. Is a way to move out there. I'm pretty sure behind this Prism, we go for the Bay. We go for the Robotics Bay, as the Shield Battery is not done! Shield Battery is not done. We do take down one of those Adepts. Second Adept is going to be targeted as well, but we don't get into the mineral line. The Adept, barely does go down. And it takes 3 volleys to kill a probe, and we only get 1 volley off. Hellion has to back off, and LunaSea does defend. Interesting. Now, with a Robo Opener, we're not going for the Bay, we're going into a Twilight Council. Very interesting. So we're going into Delayed Blink. But again, I think this just emphasizes the fact that this Robo Opener was just a safer build here from LunaSea. I mean, sure, he gets later Blink than normal, but hey, he gets access to the Warp Prism to harass. He can, of course, get into Immortal production if he need be. Observer's already out, and we do go for the Warp in right into the main. 2 Stalkers and 2 Zealots. Gonna get a couple of SCVs. Couple of SCVs go down. We're going for the tank. Good hold position. All good repair here on the tank. Does keep it alive. Oh. Zealot goes down. But nice damage here by LunaSea. Does get 2 SCVs. Does get a full scout to the main as well, confirming the 3-1-1 setup. Banshee production underway. Also scouted here by LunaSea. Now, Banshee tank. We have seen Beyond go for a 2-base all-in variation of this. HonMonO is not above that. I can see him pulling the boys with his these tanks, with 2 to 3 tanks here from HonMonO. But what are we pushing into? We already have an Immortal. Again, because of the Robo, we have a safety Immortal. Charge is on the way, not Blink. Third base has been delayed in favor of all this production and all of this tech. And here we go, we're pulling the boys. It is a 2-base all-in. Tanks and Banshees. Now, this all-in specifically from HonMonO with 3 tanks and Banshees has been quite popular. I mentioned before, we've seen Bjorn do this, we've seen Oliveira do this, we saw Clem do this as well last week. Clem also went for this build against Firefly, if you remember, on Golden Aura. And Firefly did defend. That was during WTL. But here we go. HonMonO is committed, but he's running into charge lots. Like, we are so prepared for this, but the shield batteries are not done. Uh-oh. There we go. They're finishing up just in time. 3 shield batteries at the natural. The third base, non-existent. SCVs are going down. HonMonO caught unsieged. He gets caught unsieged. 1 tank falls, and can we get another? Oh, I think we can. Yeah, LunaSea completely just shutting this down here. 2 tanks go down. He has an Immortal. He can focus down the 3rd tank as well. GG gets caught. LunaSea playing very safe this game. Delaying his 3rd base in favor of production, of tech, of more shield batteries. Anticipating the all-in. And LunaSea advances on to the next round. GG. GG, well played. Again, LunaSea just opting to go for a bit of a different build here, going for the Robo first, and even though he was harassing across the map with the Warp Prism, again, he had an early Immortal, he intentionally delayed his 3rd base, he was ready for any kind of aggression, and this is the downside of HonMonO, is that even though you may not know the exact build he's going for, he is a little bit predictable in the sense that you know he's coming. Like, you know HonMonO is coming, one way or another, he's pulling the boys, you know that. So LunaSea just able to somewhat anticipate that and shut that down. Congratulations to LunaSea. It does advance on to the semifinals, and we are heading over to the land of the Americas to dive into those semis. Let's go. Exclamation mark B in the chat. Oh, I should update the score.